Ladies and gentlemen, okay, let's go through the what we call it, the first aspiration of this document, which is the humanity. As I mentioned to you just now, that the humanity, we are taking it as a new term because we are changing the term from al-hifzu from Ibn Ashur. We are not using the word preservation or protection used by Ibn Ashur due to we want to avoid the confusion between the protection in this aspiration to the protection in the five necessities of the Maqasid Sharia. But the essence of it actually is the humanity, where we are looking into make sure that anything, any financial transactions that we done, you must have the humanity impact on it. So it refers to the quality of being kind, considerate towards the human beings and other creatures, involves showing empathy, respect, and sense of moral responsibility towards well-being and dignity of all individuals, regardless race, religion, lineage, or wealth. Actually, this is the statement, but I think the essence of the humanity is based on the responsibility for the human itself to be the Khalifah. As Allah SWT said in the Holy Quran, Allah has appointed us human as the Khalifah. Wa isqala rabbuka lil malaikati inni ja'ilun fil ardi Khalifah. Allah appoint Adam alayhi salam as the Khalifah, as the vicegerent of God. So the role of the to be the Khalifah is to manage this world, and our responsibility is to make sure that anything that we do is to preserve the humankind. Then the definitions of humankind given by the scholars is not among the humans, but all the creatures as well. So that's why the concept of humanity is very big. But I think this is the essence things that being brought by Ibn Ashur to make sure that any financial transactions that we do have given the impact to the humanity itself. And it also been reflected in the discussion of the scholars, not only from the perspective of Maqasid, philosophical part of it. I'm giving you some example given by the scholars how humanity is affecting the ruling as well in the fiqh mu'amalat. In the discussion of buyu, for example, buyu darar, or the buying and transaction that have the harm to the people, for example, I'm giving the one of the example given by the scholars actually is a bait talaqi rukban. Bait talaqi rukban is one of the harmful transaction which is considered as haram or is prohibited in Islam. Yeah. For example, talaqi rukban, where the arrangement or the role of middleman in the supply chain activities. Yeah. Why the scholars is prohibit the concept of talaqi rukban from the first place, even though this talaqi rukban actually is fulfilling the pillars and conditions of contract. If you take a look in detail, by talaqi rukban, if it fulfill the pillars and conditions of contract. For example, the fisherman, right? The fisherman is selling it to the middleman, and looking at the pillars, for example, they have buyer, they have sellers. We have the price, we have the items, which is the fish, and they have the silver. What makes the transactions is prohibited, right? Actually, the transaction is valid. In the first place, is valid, and even when the middleman sell it to the people in the city, for example, so they are selling it without any violation against the pillars and conditions of contract. But at the end of the day, why the scholars is prohibit that? Because of the element of that kind of supply chain could give harm to the society at large. So that is why it is being prohibited, not because of not fulfilling the pillars and conditions of contract, because of it gives the harm to the people and the society at large. So at the end of the day, scholars not only looking at the contract perspective, it is not only riba, gharar, and maisir, looking into the effect and the impact of the contract, whether if it is give the harm to the people, it is prohibited as well, even though you are fulfilling the pillars and conditions of the contract. So this is the humanity that we are looking at to make sure that any transactions that we doing must have give the impact to the people. This is what we are looking at. That's why from this aspiration, number one, we have underlined three principles to be achieved by the capital market fraternity. Number one is to make sure it has aligned with cultivating attainment of the basic needs. What does it mean? It means that anything that we do, we must put the priority to make sure that we are attain the basic needs. For example, we are talking about the element of values and ethics just now. People are looking into the profit as much as possible. Profit maximization. I can do whatever I want to do. Yes, it is allowed by the Sharia. Islam is not prohibiting you to get as much as profit as possible. But where is your responsibility towards your profit? For example, are you cultivating attainment of basic need? You are looking into selling something that at the end of the day, the people suffer because they don't have the food. The people suffer because of they don't have the place to shelter on. So anything that we do currently somehow does we fulfill the basic needs first. So the principle number one is to manifest something somehow, one entities or one product, one issuance of sukuk, for example. Yes, I'm issuing the sukuk because I want to develop what we call it the shelter for the B40s, for example. So this is one also fulfill the attainment of the basic needs. So that is why if we craft a product which can give the impact to the basic needs of people, actually you are aligning to one principles on this Maqasid Sharia guidance. Principles number two is demonstrating the positive social culture, aim to foster a positive impact to the social culture and avoid activities that contribute to the negative social cultures. For example, like junk food, for example, junk food. We cannot see junk food is haram because actually it's halal. The ingredient is halal. It's already been certified by Jakim, for example. But at the end of the day, what is the effect of your products, your transactions? What is the effect of your transactions to the society at large? At the end, you are looking back into the impact of the society. Does it give and demonstrate a positive social culture? Are you selling something at the end of the day, the people will have something that is not good for their culture of life. That's why some of the scholars prohibit, some of the scholars I would say prohibit, why they are prohibits to sell the musical instrument at the first place. Some of scholars say it is permissible, but some of scholars say prohibit because looking into the impact of the musical instrument itself. So anything that capital market fraternities, for example, any entities, any product that can demonstrate that, yes, my issuer actually demonstrating when I issue this sukuk, for example, the proceed to be used can give the impact to the social positively. So Sharia advisors in this area can say that, oh, this is very good and it demonstrates the positive social culture. So that is principle number two that we have put it on. And number three is undertaking initiative in preserving the well-being of the future generation, which is focused on the safeguarding future generation through environmental preservation such as climate change mitigation and adaptation. And this effort will enable them in gaining access to resources while maintaining a healthy and balanced ecosystem. I think this is quite interesting to talk about. People talk about the protections of environment. I think when we discuss with our scholars, especially our Sharia Advisory Council, we do agree that yes, Islam asks us to protect the environment. At the end of the day, environment actually is not the ultimate to be protected. At the end, what we want to protect actually the humanity. Because between humanity and environment, the humanity should be in place first, right? That's why what we are looking into the Ukraine Russia war, for example. Prior to the war, people, especially in Europe, focusing on, we want to protect the environment, close down all the coal energy manufacturers. But when the Ukraine war started, they have to restart back the coal manufacturing energy supply. Just because to supply to make sure that human can survive. That is the main thing. So that is why when we discuss, does Islam put the emphasis on protection the environment? Yes, I would say yes. But more important actually is to protect the humanity. So that is why we put the aspiration actually is the humanity to make it balance between protections and environment and protections of humanity. And under the principle number 3, we want to say that environment is important, but I think the general term of it is to make sure that we are doing something good for our future generation, including protection the environment. Why we are protect the environment? Because we want to protect our future generation, not because we want to protect the environment, because we want to protect the future generation. Future generation is protecting the humanity of the future generation. So that is the ultimate objective of it. So by looking at this principle, we are focusing on balance between the humanity and environment protection. I will not say that environment is not important, but how we want to balance that in the ecosystem that we have between the environment and the need of the human itself. So this is under the principle number 3. For example, if the Sukuk have something to do to protect the future generations by reduce the emission, for example, it can be manifest under the principle number 3. So under the humanity, the topic of humanity is very big topic to be discussed under the impact of the financial transaction. But for us in Islamic capital market, we are looking into these 3 principles first to be attained, to be aligned by the product, by the services, and even by the entities to be manifest. So hopefully that by having these 3 principles, the product, any product that been issued, try to make sure that they can align themselves and has the kind of the element of principles that they have. Until now, we are still not putting any indicators yet. It's open and depends on the Sharia advisors how they want to manifest that in the Sharia pronouncement.